Hey Jonathan, how's it going, mate?
I'm good.
Maybe it's good quorum to introduce ourselves. My name is Werner and you are?
Jonathan Gall.
And I'm located in Warsaw, Poland. And Jonathan, you are hiding away.
Yeah, let's say I live in Poland. You don't really need to know that.
Yes, and also we have a guest today in today's show. He might pop up one or two times during the occasion. You can hear him in the background. That's my little son, Franz.
Hey, friends.
Yes, as we are in our isolation still, we all have to kind of share the load here with our little man. Jonathan, today's episode, we want to talk a little bit about redesigning your life, your work life, your balance.
Yes.
But before I want to do that, I wanted to share something and a quick shout out because from time to time people do reach out to us and share with us some of the impacts we've had with the show, and I just want to quickly mention them to you. The two people, the one guy is Danny Seals. He responded after our reading episode, kind of echoed a little bit about our reading styles, makes the same kind of notes. He did mention to me though that he uses another application. Don't know if you know about this. It's called Readwise.
I forgot about mentioning it twice last time. I used it for 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah, so he follows the same thing, listens to a little bit of audio, balances out with a book. But Danny, thanks a lot for reaching out. And then the other guy who also popped me a note yesterday as he was embarking on a new adventure is a fellow South African, Roger Santos, dropped me a note, and he listened to our workshopper, the bootstrapper thing that I created a long time ago. He checked that out, and then indirectly he decided, I'm going to do the Seth Godin workshop, and he should be starting today. As we're recording this, he's in the workshop chasing the dream, man. So Roger, hopefully you'll be having that startup firing up so that you can offer myself and Jonathan each high-paying jobs. How's that, Jono?
Exactly. That's how we do it.
And then our mate Alex, dude, has also been in touch. Dropped us a few notes and sent us some love on Twitter. And then the lovely Anetka has also been mentioning us. And I just wanted to mention again that this means a lot. We don't chase and request many times for people to give us a shout-out. And when they do, we feel the love and appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Cool. Okay. So today's show is really to both you and me actually had a phone call earlier this week, and we did something independently together. And John, I'm talking way too much again. Maybe you just want to dip us into this, because I think we fundamentally both of us realized that we had to make a few changes. And I'll set it up like this. Let me waffle a little bit more, damn it. I think one of the big things that's happening at the moment, especially in this world of isolation that we are in, is that we are trying to do too much, believe it or not. People feel that, on the flip side, of course, there's a whole bunch of people hanging out on TikTok. But then there's a whole bunch of my mates and friends who are going, hey, yes, Francie, TikTok. A lot of people are feeling like they have to make and maximize the time that they have now, and they're actually over investing their time. Jonathan, I know that you also felt that.
Yeah, I will say this period is perfect for introspection, and it was very funny to have that discussion last week, beginning of this week, actually, when we both met and we were like, hey, I need to tell you about something. And you were like, hey, I need to tell you about something.
Yeah.
And we are like, we did the same thing. Okay. Spent way too much time together, mate. So basically, what did we do? We worked on our goals, our long-term goals, and how do we want to spend our time. My goal is to focus my time on one main thing. I've been working on a few items since the last few years, as you know well, design, development, project management. And because of my involvement with the startup I'm working with other startup projects, I kind of stopped having an hobby, something I will do with pure passion.
Yeah.
Like no limits, let's go on and enjoy it, have fun. Design was that at one point of my life. It became a job. Now it is a job. Project management is a job. Product management is a job. I needed something else. I need to find my next North Star, which is not linked to my daily activity.
Yeah.
To do that, I created a matrix, and you created your own matrix.
Yeah.
And
we both went into the matrix.
Exactly, and we exchanged about that, and we thought that that would be an ideal episode to create today.
Exactly. So I think mine is simpler. So I'll talk about that first, and also just position where what my challenge was is that I think one of the big things as an entrepreneur at the moment is that we all understand that we are at the moment in tough times, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't look on the horizon. Now, the horizon contains hopefully good things for us, or shall I rather say different things, because there's going to be a new normal. But I also feel that you have to be realistic and probably look at your business and say, okay, cool, I'm probably going to feel much more pain, in air quotes, of the impact of this down the line in the future, right? So I had to really sit down and focus on and decide on what it is that I need to look at. And I felt a little bit lost. So maybe just my rambling. So I think in your space, you were looking more of at the holistic life positioning, right, Jono?
Exactly.
Where I was really looking more from an entrepreneurship business perspective. And I think there's a distinction in that. And but the thing is, I think the approaches that we are mentioning here is kind of beneficial in both ways, where yours probably more a bit holistic. So let me just talk a little bit about what I did, and then hand over to you, because I was really intrigued by what you showed me. I did something really simple. I wanted to figure out what am I doing that is actually moving the needle for my business, and what am I doing that is kind of like cool, and what am I doing that is wasting my time. And so what I did is I did a simple effort impact matrix. So you have an XY axis, and on the bottom you have at the beginning you have low effort, and then further on high effort. So how much work does it take to do this task? And then on the x-axis you have low effort, low impact. So when I look at impact, it's you can define it yourself the way you want it. But for me, it's like, is it moving my business forward? Am I making revenue? Is it worth doing? And then, of course, higher up is like high impact. So, and then I started writing down little sticky notes what it is I was doing in my business. So different projects, different clients, different kind of proactive work I'm doing, different things. Because I mean, for example, I started doing YouTube videos now, and you know, I'm doing a lot of podcasting work, and I'm all over the place with that. And I mapped it out, dude. And the first thing that I saw, and I think this is super valuable for someone to do, if anything else, is that I did not realize, because I felt really guilty going into this process. I thought I was like fart-assing around a little bit. I still today, I feel like I'm not really making 100% use of the time that I have. But then when I started writing this down, I was actually a little bit shocked about what I was doing. And by mapping this out and looking at the effort and the impact, I could really, I actually knocked a few things out. You know, there's some things that and it's not only about revenue. So for example, block thinking, the work that I'm doing with you, it's not a big revenue spinner for us, but it's something that feeds my soul, right? And I don't necessarily want to give that up. I would rather give up something that probably brings in a little bit revenue and really sucks the life out of my soul. So, you know, trying to give you an idea of where that is. But I think the biggest value for me out of the exercise is really to see, what am I doing? You know, what am I spending my time on? And you would be really surprised when you start mapping that out. I was. But Jonathan, you took it to level Jono.
Yeah. The difference with you was that As you mentioned very well, I tried to map what I will do with all my non-business time. There is one concept I really believe in, is one serious hobby. I want to be, because it's my nature, I want to be really good at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you can't be good at too many things. That's not going to happen. And I'm putting it to an extreme. I don't think you can be really good at two things at the same time. Exactly. So my goal was, okay, you're going to choose one thing and add a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Add a list of 11 items I really want to get good at.
Is this professional or hobby-wise?
Hobby-wise.
Can't remember.
Okay. I mean, it can be linked. It can be linked. For example, in those items, there is design. You could say design is both my hobby and my work.
Okay.
It's something I enjoy, and I'm very lucky to do it professionally.
So you've listed all the things down on the list.
Exactly. And then once I created that list of things I want to obsess about, obsess actually is the word. Things that you can obsess on.
Yeah.
I had to create a scale. So I didn't use like the impact effort matrix. Instead, I used another one, which is that I created based on my readings, based on my experience. After all, we both led design thinking workshops. We know one thing about doing that thing.
Exactly.
So I used that experience. I used my readings, and I really pinpoint the key aspects I want to focus on. And I had four elements. The first one was my current level. So how strong I am in that thing. Okay. Because I want to get a sense of where do I start from.
Yeah, it's like me trying to learn the piano. I really suck at that. So I'm very low.
So
and how do you measure that? Was that on a scale, like 1 to 5?
Exactly. Or? I used the scale for each of them, 1 to 5.
Okay.
And then piano is a thing I do, for example, and I put myself on.
And that was just a
joke.
Yeah,
I do. It was on my list because I'm honest with my current level.
Okay, so just to recap, sorry, because I'm cutting you off all the time and I'm scared that someone listens to this and they don't know where the hell this is. List of all the things you do, and then for each one you have criteria. And now we have, and the criteria, that's the columns next to the things is that you've noted, is you rate it 1 to 5. Now the first one, we've only done the first one. The first one is how good am I at it at the moment?
Yeah, what is my current level? Yeah, my current level.
How strong am I?
Yes.
Okay, that's number 1. Okay, and then
the second one was the direct business impact. So can I get value from getting better at this right now? Not in the future, right now. Because that's important too. Because if my hobby can sync with my business life, hey, that's, I mean, crisis time, you know? You want to have perspectives. So same thing on 5. The third one was the sense of completion. So this one is a little more holistic. What do I call the sense of completion? Is will I regret not mastering this thing when I'm 70 years old?
Example.
Piano is a good example. I've been playing piano since I'm 5 years old. I stopped when I moved in Europe. Actually, before, when I moved in high school, I barely stopped. And after that, I completely stopped. I started it again when I was living in Luxembourg. I loved it. And I stopped it again when I moved in Kielce, so my city. So what is the issue with that? I have a huge sense of, I always seen myself as a pianist. Right. So at 70 years old, I want to be able to say, okay, I can play. I can be proud of what I've done. sense of completion for a designer is very different. For example, it's much lower because if I don't become the best designer, I don't care. I just need to be good enough. It's my job. I enjoy it. I don't want to feel like I've been the best designer on the universe. That's okay. As long as I can do my job and I can have fun and I can fulfill my tasks and at a professional worldwide level, that's enough. So that's what I call sense of completion. So this is very, very, very personal. The last one is enjoyment. So enjoyment is basically, do I have fun doing it? No, more exactly, does the time fly when I'm practicing that skill?
Are you in flow?
Exactly. How easy it is to get in flow, because you might love some things. It might be very, very difficult to get in flow with them because it's just not natural to you. You want to do that, but it's just doesn't. So I created that. I add my scores, then I reflect and discussed, and that's what I did.
It sounds interesting, man. Like, I just want to go through the different the. Can you just mention one by one the different criteria?
Okay.
Again.
So
number one,
my current level. How strong am I in that thing?
Okay.
Number two, the direct business impact. Can I get value from getting better at this right now? Number three, sense of completion. Will I regret not mastering this? Number four, enjoyment. Does the time fly when I'm practicing that skill?
Man, good stuff. And then, Jono, just before we dip into it, because there's an extension to this conversation as we start to like wind this down. How do you feel at the moment? Like, how's this this matrix been like? What you've now mapped this all out? What is the immediate steps that you're going to be taking? Do you feel better, like that you have a more better idea of what you're doing now, or
amazingly better?
Have you implemented everything there? Have you made a clean sweep through everything?
Okay, implementation is in progress. In my mind, though, everything is much more. Everything is clear now. This is what I can say. It was. I don't have any doubt. My intentions are pure. It's a nice sentence, right? My intentions are pure.
They are pure.
Yeah, my intentions are pure. I know I'm spending my time. I don't feel bad about using my time in things that are not going to get productive because I know exactly what I'm doing. I had my choice. There is that one thing I'm going to focus on, and that's fantastic. So yeah.
I must say, like, I think that's where our paths actually cross. I mean, my little setup was way simpler. I probably recommend yours more because there's a little bit more of interrogation there. But as a quick, I mean, I would probably say start with the matrix just to map everything out, and then dip into your world because then you can really clarify it. Because I just went with gut. But the thing is, I think where we do share feelings is that once you've done it, and you have a bit of a clearer perspective, you do feel better about what you're doing, right? And you can then start working on implementation. Now, in the last bit of the show, we just wanted to, I mean, we didn't want to like regurgitate someone else's writings, but there is a book that someone recommended to me years ago, and in fact, you actually knew about it too, Jono, and we kind of once again kind of just aligned on it. It's called Designing Your Life. So the folks who work at D School, specifically the two authors, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, they're quite famous, right, Jono? They've done some stuff. So they wrote this book, and it's really like taking design thinking and applying it to your life. In fact, they've tested this or started implementing it on students at the D School, and then developed this whole kind of methodology around it. And yeah, we just wanted to talk a little bit about that. So it's kind of like following the normal design thinking process.
So yeah, basically the main aspect of designing your life is that you should not see life as a problem, but as an adventure. So you should not try to focus on solving things, but more really trying to create flows like roads, way you're going to follow. And for that, they wrote that book. We are going to put that book in the show notes. They have a very clear structure. They talk, for example, to give with examples, they talk about the fact that you need to create that motion between acceptance and empathizing with what you are, what you want to do. Define, so you need to be honest with yourself. Like, this is really, really important. You need to be honest with yourself, and this is easier said than done.
Exactly.
Define what you want to, what is going to be your way. I was making a mistake. Then ideate, prototype, test. I mean,
Yeah.
the last step, if you're designers, if you're developers, you know what we are talking about. Same thing about your life.
And dude, the thing is, like, this is, I can only speak from my own personal experience, and I make this mistake so many times, right? And I shouldn't be this honest on a podcast, but you know, like, sometimes what I do is I take the art or the act of design or whatever you want to call it, and I use it in my professional life, and I use it in the context of a project when someone says, "Come do some work for me." But when it comes to solving simple problems like slicing a piece of bread or maybe redesigning my professional life, I sometimes forget about the methodologies that are out there to actually start you going. And I think this book really brings it home. I mean, of course, you can adapt whatever process you want. And talking about process, the other thing I wanted to talk about that I think is important as outlined in the book, but then also important for you and for me and whoever listening to this, because there's sometimes a lot of critique. I see sometimes people roll their eyes about, you know, another little recipe. Yes, if you're going to approach this like that, it's going to fail. The biggest thing with this is, and if you want to fill in canvases, when you want to do the designing your life book, it is a process that you have to follow, because a process means that it never stops. You fill in your dashboard and you have to look at how things respond. You have to tweak it. This is alive. You don't sit once, read the book, and then redesign your life, and then boom, it's fine. It needs to be ongoing, right? So, Jonathan, like with your thing, you're probably going to go back, analyze how things are working, because some of the decisions you've made on that list might not be right. You can only figure it out once you start prototyping this. The other thing that I wanted to say about this is that once you go into the design, and I think we spoke about it because a lot of what we've spoken about in the show is really to figure out, where are you now? Before you know where you're going to go, you need to understand where you're at. And in the book, their matrix, so I mean, I looked at very professional things. Jonathan went to hobby, personal life, health. In the book, they unpack 4 levels: work, pretty straightforward; play, hobbies and that kind of stuff; love, family time, that kind of thing; and health, right? So they help you develop a dashboard, and then you start mapping things out. Now, I didn't work personally, John. Did you go through the whole book?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. So I read the whole book, but I actually only went up to dashboard level. And then the other thing I did is I did a mind map where they say, listen, map out, like draw a mind map of all the things that you dig, and then start seeing how things connect. Because I mean, my dream, like my big dream is like, shit, I wish I could be a radio producer. I don't tell everybody I want this as a dream, but that was kind of my thing. And I put it on a mind map, right? And then you start thinking about, okay, cool. What are things that you're currently doing, whatever, connected to that, like podcasting or whatever? And then you can see how this thing starts to kind of evolve into something that could make sense. You know, like maybe you can't be a producer, but you could produce podcasts for a living or something like that, you know. And I felt that was kind of really valuable. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that.
I did, for instance, I did the workshop. So the design.
Oh,
I did
I
the
forgot
design.
about that.
Yeah, I did the designing your life workshop, today workshop. So it's remotely, obviously. Otherwise, I would need to be in San Francisco. But that was I went for the exercises.
You reckon it's worth it? Was it with the 2 guys? Like,
yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Man.
So it's available on Creative Lives. I can put the link on it.
Yeah,
So
and the thing is, you did the workshop before you read the book, right?
Yes, actually, I did the workshop, not the book.
Okay.
That's why I know about the whole thing.
This is how I discover stuff in the podcast. I should do better show notes. There goes my dream of being a radio producer.
So I did the workshop. I'm going to put the link for the workshop. I did it live at the time. Now you can still do the workshop like it's recorded and all of that. So I had to go for all the exercise and taking my time. And it's It's really good what we're saying, trying to figure out things. People were asking questions, really, really good. And they were even taking questions from the internet. So the folks like me that were on the internet. Yeah, so I would advise you. I think it's pretty cheap. It's like $29 or something like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
if there
drop
is
a link.
one
Yeah.
thing you can do, you can do it.
Check
You can buy
us.
the book also. I have the book too, but the book, because I did the workshop, I just went through the the place I needed to remind stuff. Another book I can advise is Drive from Daniel Pink, because this book is going to help you to prioritize, basically to make that choice of defining that defining part, because in that book you will learn about the key point of every hobby or activity you will do. So the 3 points: mastery, autonomy, and purpose. And that's going to give you the ability to rank your goals also. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Reading those books, doing the workshop, creating your own matrix is important, because depending on who you are, things are going to be different.
And there's one thing, I'm waving my finger in the air. You can't see this, but Jono is seeing it. And this is also really, especially for a lot of my design buddies, right? Especially the ones who complain about like applying for jobs. Because in this book, because if you think about design thinking, one of the key things is research, right? And you need to go interview people to do research. And the thing is, I like in the book how they flip around the idea of your research is that you actually go and interview other people. So when you go to a job interview, you are actually interviewing your prospective company. And when you make that mindset shift that you are actually interviewing them, not vice versa, it takes a lot of pressure off your shoulders. I've been starting to do that. And, for example, this radio thing that I dream about, I reached out to a bunch of radio people. Now, two things happening. I'm not trying to get a job from them. That's not my attitude. I'm not going, hey, so what's up, dude? And this has happened to me. Like, hey, what's happening? Want to be your mate? Oh, by the way, do you have a job for me? No, F off. The thing is here, it's like, hey, I'm really interested in this area. Would you want to grab a cup of coffee? I'll buy you a coffee. I just need to know, like, what I need to do. Like, like research your guy. But it's super useful, man. And you get to know cool people, and you kind of, first of all, know where you're going, because you are interviewing them, not the other way around.
Such a good advice.
And I loved it. Sorry, I just
no, that's
the show went all over the place now. But
no, that's really good. That's really good. This is a very, very good point. Anyway,
thanks for making me feel better, Jono. But anyway, we kind of wrapping this up. We've got a nice process that we shared with you. Simple one, a Jono one, and then there's a book. We have 3 books in the show notes, so you can go check out. And then I also want to really encourage you, please, in this time, in fact, any time, like watch a little bit of Gary Vee. I like him too, but don't fall down the whole rabbit hole. Also make some time to pause, breathe. And John, are you making fun because I sound like a yoga teacher? I'm not. And then just reflect on where you are. Sometimes it's really good to just slow the fuck down and focus on where you are before you make the next. Don't be crazy. Trust me, Jonathan, we know. When you go crazy, you do stupid things too. Slow the fuck down.
Yep.
That's my spiel. My name is Werner and my co-host
is Jonathan Gall.
And we love you. And thank you for listening. And stay in touch. See you in the next one. Hear you in the next one. Thanks, Jonathan.
Music.